Human rights, they're what you're born with. They're inherent, and everybody should have them.
Human rights are the rights that each person is guaranteed.
So how would you define human rights?
Human rights. I believe that human rights are the inalienable rights that every person has upon birth, as Thomas Jefferson put it. Those include anything from right to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom to be your own person, according to what government would say. Personally, my faith is a big part of my life, and so I believe that human rights are intertwined with what God establishes as well. And I believe that God created all people equal and created every person with the ability to choose freely. And I think that every person should not be denied that right to choose. So that's kind of in a nutshell.
So how would you define human rights?
In my own opinion, I feel like human rights are the rights that you're born with. Basically, the first three, given rights in the those are the Bill of Rights, right? I believe so. So it's the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Honestly, human rights are, as they say, human rights. It's what everyone deserves and what everyone has, despite where they're from.
I feel like feminism and LGBT rights are the biggest because it encompasses the most people as far as sexual equality and the gender spectrum and gender equality. So I feel like it's the most pressing because it applies to the most people.
The most pressing human rights issue right now would be the refugee crisis in the Syrian Middle East. I feel like that Western nations, particularly and the Gulf nations, should take more responsibility granting certain migrants asylum from war, and that's
Okay. Instantly, when you ask that question, is how Donald Trump, in all of his his speeches and his campaigns, just completely belittles some other countryman or some other culture because it's not perfectly American. Yet in America we give, as with my definition, those three basic rights: the liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness. But he's talking about deporting already American citizens back to their native country. And in my opinion, that is a huge breach of human rights, because you have no right to uproot someone from their family, especially if they've been a legal citizen here for all of their life.
What's pretty prevalent in the media right now is the issues with Planned Parenthood and the videos that have been leaked of them selling parts of aborted babies. That's what I think of.
So what current event or current issue do you immediately think of when you hear about a breach in human rights?
First thing that comes to mind is of course, the Syrian civil war that's going on right now between the Syrian government and the rebels and the refugees. And I'm not an expert on the issue by any standard, but the fact that the government is oppressing their right to free speech, and that they're responding to that rebellion with such violence is very disturbing, and it perturbs me to a great deal. I think that is an atrocity that any government would try and deny their citizenship, their citizenry, that inalienable right to free speech. And I think that any time that life is threatened, or human rights is threatened, that there should be some sort of intervention to reestablish that. And that's why I'm so thankful that we live here in the United States of America, where government exists for the people, by the people, and not the other way around. And so I'm very thankful in that regard. But and a lot of people, they harp on smaller rights as breaches for rights, and people get upset about smaller things that in my opinion aren't really that big of an issue. But I think that in large picture, anytime somebody is denied the right to life, or is denied the right to free speech and religion, those are the three big things that I immediately think of in that regard.
I think of race.
Race?
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I'd say gender.
Gender?